This video will be covering the topic probability and statistics. So a very common question in this topic will be something called a probability density function. So the ways these will look is like this. So we have a function equals like this, and then you'll be giving another function for a certain domain, for example here -2x 0, and then another function for another domain, and then the last one like this. So once you see this, there can be various things that can be asked, for example, the mean, the median, the mode, to find k. For this question, the first part we will be looking at is finding the value for k. So an important thing you have to know with probability density functions is that the integral of it is going to be equal to 1. This is very important to know, or else you would struggle to solve these problems. So to find k, we can do exactly that. We do the integral of -2 to 0. We can put k on the outside because it's a constant. X plus 2 squared dx plus the integral of 0 to 4 over 3. We can put k on the outside, so it's a 1. So, and this all equals 1, like I said. And since this is a paper 2 exam, meaning you can use your calculator, to make it easier, you can use something called nsolve, like this. On the right side, you can see a picture of the calculator using nsolve. So what nsolve does is, if you give it an equation like this with the equal sign, it will solve the unknown for you, which makes it much easier, so you don't have to do the entire integral and waste your time on the test. You can save a lot of time by just using nsolve and finding k quickly. So if we plug this in the calculator, k will be given as 1/4. So this will be the solution for the first part. Now, the next part of the question is going to be which is find the mean. So in the formula booklet, for mean, which is ex, it says that you have to multiply each function by x. So for example, we rewrite the same integral here, -2 0. We put k on the outside, which is 1/4, x plus 2 squared multiplied by x d of x plus the integral 0 to 4 thirds of k on the outside, and then x inside because we multiplied by x. And now here we're trying to find what this is all equal to. And since now we have k, we have no unknowns here. So once again, we can plug this in the calculator. We do not need to use nsolve because there are no unknowns. So we can just plug in the integral in our calculator, which I've also shown on the right side of the screen. And with this, it will give us a answer of -0.111 to 3 significant figures. And that will be your answer for this part. And now for the second part, it will be finding the median. So this is a bit more complicated than the mean, since the first step you have to do here is figuring out in which half the median is. Is it in the first function here, or is it in the second function here? So a way to figure this out is just to solve the integral for the first one. So for example, if we do the integral -2 to 0 of kx plus 2 squared, if you solve this, which you can use on the calculator, it will give you 0.667. And if this is above 0.5, which in this case it is, since we from previously I said that the integral is equal to 1, right? So the median would be 0.5, right? So if the first part of the function is equal to something above 0.5, that means the median will be inside the first part. So if we know this, we can rewrite an integral like this, -2 to m here. Because let's just say this second function here would have been the one where it is inside. We would have wrote the integral like this, 0 to m, like this. But since it's in the first part, we don't use that. So now we rewrite this like this, k of x plus 2 squared dx, and we know that this is equal to 0.5, which is the median. And here once again we can use nsolve, because we're trying to find this unknown right here. So if you plug in this in nsolve, which once again I've shown on the right side how you should plug it in, it will give you a m value of negative 0.183 to 3 significant figures, and that will allow you to solve this problem. In this problem, we didn't find the mode, which is something else that can be asked, but this is similar to the mean. It's quite easy. What you want to do is, normally they would ask you this if there's only one function in the probability density function, but what you're trying to do is just finding the maximum or minimum point, the maximum point. For example, you take the function and you do the derivative of it and make it equal to 0 and find the x value there. And if there's two functions, you just do it twice. There will be two modes, the mode for the first function and the mode for the second function. So now moving on to another part of probability. So another important part in probability and statistics is just using the basic probability formulas, which can be found in the formula booklet. So we can do an example of this, which is like this. In the question, it's given P of A equals 0.4. Probability of A given B is equal to 0.25. And then the probability of A U B equals 0.55. And here the question is, find PB. So often these questions are quite easy because you can just use the formulas in the formula booklet and just rearrange them until you solve for the one you want to solve. So in this case, the formula we want to use is here. And since the only part in this formula we don't know is this right here, which is not given, we can plug it in from another formula in the formula booklet, which is given here. So if we rearrange this equation, we know that PA given B times PB will be equal to PANB. So now we know this, we can plug it back here and we can rewrite it like this. PA given B multiplied by PB. Now we substitute all the values we know. So here 0.55 equals 0.4 plus PB minus 0.25 PB. So if we bring 0.4 to the other side, it would be 0.15 equals PB minus 0.25 PB. And now PB minus 0.25 PB is just 0.75 PB. And then if we divide 0.75 on the other side, 0.15 divided by 0.75 equals PB, which can be written as 1 over 5, which is also equal to 0.2. So this is another common question in probability, which is often using the same steps. You have to somehow use the formulas, plug in the known values, and sometimes you have to rearrange it, like in this case where we had to plug in this other equation inside it to figure out the known value that we want to know. So yeah, that covers the probability and statistics units, the most important parts that are very common and you're almost guaranteed to see on your exams. So thank you for watching this video on probability and statistics.